Paul Keating has a great legacy. It is a government which finished in 1996, and our obligation, the mandate with which we were elected back in May of last year, is to maintain the national security of our country in 2023, and that's what we're focused on in relation to this announcement. What we have announced is about providing for a much more self-reliant nation that we're able to hand to our kids and to our grandkids in a way which will keep Australia safe for decades to come. And what I'm really focused on today is obviously explaining what that will mean in terms of the economic benefit and the jobs benefit for Western Australia.
Could his views be framed in the context of World War II, Neville Chamberlain, and appeasement towards Hitler and Germany? We know how that turned out.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to go further into commenting on. I'm not going to go further into commenting on what Mr. Keating has said. I've made that position clear. Our focus right now is on explaining the benefit of this, obviously, to our national security, but particularly today to the Western Australian economy. Well, again, I made a statement in relation to this last night. When we came to government, many of our international relations were broken. Penny Wong has done a remarkable job in repairing them. We've never had a foreign minister who has placed the Pacific so centrally in terms of our engagement with the world, and that is profoundly important. You know, I think within a year of taking office, we can really say of Penny Wong that she is one of the great foreign ministers that we've had. And from my point of view, it's really one of the honours of my professional life to be working closely with Penny, and I've seen Penny up close in terms of what she's done as Foreign Minister more than perhaps any other person.
Should we be asking Paul Keating who his military and intelligence advisors are?
Paul Keating can speak for himself and clearly does. But, you know, as I say, our focus is on explaining the benefits of this to the Western Australian people today and explaining the importance of this to the Australian people in terms of our national security.
Paul Keating's view that there is no threat from China and will be no threat. Is that wrong, and is he living in the past?
We live in an era, and we often say this, where we are experiencing the most complex, in some ways the most threatening set of strategic circumstances that we have since the end of the Second World War. And the reason we say that is because around the world we're seeing the global rules-based order being placed under pressure. We see that obviously in Eastern Europe, but we are seeing it in the Indo-Pacific as well. And we see that against the backdrop of the largest conventional military build-up that has occurred since the end of the Second World War. Now, our obligation is to take account of that. You know, our obligation is, in the face of that, to work out what Australia's response should be, and to not respond would be to see us condemned by history. What we are doing is understanding that Australia's national security lies in the collective security of our region, and it lies in the maintenance of the global rules-based order. Because in this day and age, as a trading island nation, where so much of our national interest is grounded in our connection with the world, the defence of Australia doesn't really mean that much unless we live in a world where there is the collective security of the region and a strong global rules-based order. Now, the capability that we are acquiring under this arrangement is about Australia's contribution to that collective security of the region and to that regional expression of the global rules-based order. And I would want to say that between myself, the Foreign Minister, the Prime Minister, the Minister for the Pacific, which is what the Minister for Defence Industry also is, you know, over the course of the last week and a half, we've made more than 60 calls to leaders in the Pacific, in ASEAN, around the world, to explain what our strategic intent is, and I think those calls have been well received.